MLS Aces Podcast. This is your host, Tom Sweezy. This is episode 334. Jason, we are back. Missed last week. My fault. Put it out there. But we are back to catch up on everything MLS related, CONCACAF, US soccer, and everything in between. So, how are you feeling, first and foremost?
Good. I mean, like always, there's a crazy amount going on in MLS. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know. I think they just keep adding teams, and now there's like so many games. There's so many things to talk about. Players moving, competitions, coaches on the hot seat. You know.
Yeah. It also helps that MLS teams are, for the most part, I know we talk a lot of shit about some things in CONCACAF and everything, but for the most part, I think MLS teams are doing more, doing better on a larger international scale too, which also just adds more conversation and more everything going on a
Yeah.
weekly
I
basis.
also think they're just more competitive. Like from week to
Yeah.
week, you'll have games. I mean, there's some amazing assists, goals, playmaking, saves, like every single week. I've just watched and I'm just amazed. And it sounds like it's like I'm like talking it up too much, but like genuinely, there was some crazy goals this week, and I feel like most of the week there are.
This is kind of my feeling, and just to give the listener or the viewer of this episode like a heads up of what we're gonna do this episode, we're gonna keep it very high level and talk about kind of like clubs, not specifically games, where we'll mention games and reference games, but kind of talk about
We'll
where
end up talking about a lot of
a
games,
hundred, a hundred
probably.
percent. Where clubs stand and
Yeah,
fall right now in our mind at this point of the MLS season. Because look, we're what 12 weeks into the MLS season, 12 games into the MLS season, so it's already getting close-ish to that halfway point, and there's a
that's
lot
crazy.
to kind of I think recap and maybe settle some thoughts and everything between. But there are two pieces of news that I just want to kind of quickly go through, and we mentioned and we're talking about how MLS clubs are doing better, just maybe are better and getting more recognition at the international level. Well, the Court of Arbitration has rejected the appeal from Club Lyon to be playing in the 2025 Club World Cup, since them and I can't think of the other Mexican club off the top of my head. Again, apologies. It's been a hell of a 2 weeks. But whatever. Same ownership group for two Liga MX clubs that made the Club World Cup. This Court of Arbitration of Sport was like, nah, Club Lyon, you can't make it in. So the decision from FIFA was there is going to be a one-game playoff between Club America and LAFC to see who gets the final spot in the competition. Pretty much, it's a one-game playoff for 10 million bucks. Ultimately, roughly $10 million, which for both Club America and for both LAFC is pretty interesting. I think I've seen many people compare it to the EFL Championship, playoff game where
That's
it's the
like
most.
160 million
This
technically.
is like the second most expensive game in the world, or whatever it is. But it's pretty cool from like a CONCACAF stage and platform that we're gonna get something like this, and I'm sure it's gonna be in LA. I'm sure the fans will be packing out that stadium. The best team in Mexico versus the one of the best teams in MLS with a huge market, Los Angeles, huge Mexican American population, and right near the border and everything. It's going to be insane. It's going to be a fun watch no matter what. But obviously, roughly a $10 million prize at the end of it is pretty cool too. Any thoughts about any of this, Jason, or
I
just
mean, you said it pretty much, but like, yeah, this is going to be exciting. Obviously, we're pulling for LAFC here, but this is like I don't know, it's like CONCACAF Champions Cup final, but for $10 million. Maybe not. Maybe people will be mad at me for saying that, but like this is pretty high stakes. I feel like, and in the winners definitely benefiting quite a bit, especially like compared to the leagues they're in, right? So if LAFC just gets $10 million for winning this game, plus, I mean, I think you get money based on points or wins in.
it's a minimum of roughly 10 million.
Yeah, and can get to pretty high amounts,
Yeah,
and you know, club name recognition and stuff
100%.
internationally. It's all really, really huge for LAFC. Should they win that?
Yeah, I mean, look, if they do make it, it's gonna be weird, right? Because like Miami are technically hosting their group, Seattle's technically hosting their group since it's gonna be, in America, right? LAFC would not be hosting their group. They would be playing the likes of Chelsea, Fluminense, and I forgot the team out of Egypt. I'm pretty sure. Could be
I
wrong
would
about
love to
that.
watch LAFC versus Chelsea.
That I mean, LAFC versus Fluminense would be pretty damn cool too. On top of it, so they would be the odd American team not hosting, traveling in this one, which maybe makes the recognition out there a little different. But I still think on a global scale, it would probably be super beneficial, and both Club America and LAFC are going to want this. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. The game is going to be the day before the CONCACAF Champions League final, which is just going to make that entire weekend so much fun. Club America versus LAFC. Then you have the Whitecaps versus Cruz Azul, right? And I'm sure we'll talk about that in a little bit, but just a very fun time, I think, coming up at the end of this month for sure. The only other kind of news and note I wanted to just mention out there is Kai Kamara is back in Major League Soccer at the age of 40. We love Kai. We love to see this, but he is signed to FC Cincinnati off of being a free agent. The former MLS Cup champion and two-time US Open Cup champion has 560 career games played. He's rising up the MLS regular season scoring charts, and there is no doubt in my mind that with the likes of Evander and Kevin Denke and Luca Orejano and the rest of this team, Kai Kamara could potentially score, I'm going to go 8 to 10 goals this season.
Yeah, I mean, did you see some of that service Evander was doing this past weekend? Like, I'm sure Kai Kamara's super excited to get onto the field with them. Cincinnati's just they're kind of figuring it out like really fast. Obviously, most of the team's the same, but not all of it. And you arguably lost your most important player in Lucho Acosta, who's doing his own thing pretty well. Uh, but yeah, I mean, I think Kai Kamara. I love Kai Kamara. I think we all know this. So I'm happy for him.
And I'm going to use this as a transition to go into my team that I want to talk about, and that is FC Cincinnati, right? Like, this is a team right now that I think there was some concerns of how quickly things would get connected and playing well with Cincinnati, right? Lucho Acosta departing super late. Luca Orejano doesn't sign his contract late into preseason. Even I think maybe it was even week 1, if I remember correctly, or something like that, right? You have a new record-setting striker, or at the time he was a record-signing striker, in Kevin Denke, and you just have a lot of like question marks. Matt Miazga's still injured and everything like that. I am pleasantly surprised with how well FC Cincinnati has been. I think it hasn't been absolutely amazing. This team looks unbeatable. This team looks like they're going to run the Eastern Conference, but FC Cincinnati are keeping their place, I think, within the top echelon of MLS clubs. And their win this past weekend against Austin was another representation of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think like from a Eastern Conference, can they just dominate it? No, because you have a couple other teams in there, like we've talked about all year, like that tier of team. Which Philly's in it. Honestly, I don't even know.
We'll get to them. I want to bring
But
up Philly.
but like all of these teams are on really good form, including Columbus. I mean, Columbus and Philly just played, but other than that, they've been kind of killing it. Um, Miami, like, while their form hasn't been as good, it's still Miami. Like, nobody's counting this team out. But Cincinnati has been honestly like really good. I think the Denke signing obviously has turned out to be amazing, right? Like, he looks really good. He looks confident.
I mean, he looks like what you want a 24-year-old, $16 million striker to be, like
It's almost not enough money, dude. Like, that's how good he is. I also think like I think we knew Evander obviously in Portland was good, right? Like,
yeah,
MVP level candidate. It was how quickly can he either get to that level again, or I mean, you could argue that he's playing with better players in Cincinnati. Actually, it's probably not even that hard of an argument.
no, it's
Um,
definitely better overall team.
But I think he's hit like his stride so fast. I mean, he had a goal and an assist this past weekend, plus potentially like one of the most insane goals of all time that just hit off the post from like 40 yards. But yeah, I mean, I think what Cincinnati's been able to do is just get everyone on the same page so fast. Like,
And I mean, that's a credit to Pat Noonan and Chris
yeah,
Albright and the coaching staff and everyone for kind of getting it together. Now you're bringing in Kai Kamara, who I think, is someone who is maybe almost another level-headed voice and
yeah,
coach-esque type role and leader in the locker room.
he's seen it all. He's been on good teams.
He's seen it all. He's
Yeah.
done it all, and you're only adding to it, right? So I think Cincinnati, and I know Obi Nwoboto's been out injured. Once you get him fully back healthy, this team has a chance, I think, to dominate not dominate. Eastern Conference is very, very good.
I don't know if there is dominating Eastern Conference. I think we're gonna have like a slugfest for top spot.
I'm gonna say this team has a chance to win the Supporter Shield easily and go into the playoffs as MLS Cup favorites. Is that fair?
I don't know, easily win the Supporter Shield.
They have a chance to do it easily. I'm not saying they will.
Oh, like I fully expect them to
Yes.
be in the conversation for Supporter Shield or point total like by the end of the season.
Yeah.
30 or whatever.
Yeah. Fully agree with you. Fully agree.
I think it's gonna be tough because there's a lot of. It seems like the top of MLS this year is pretty competitive.
I'm also gonna say, like, I don't know, right? Like, the top of MLS is competitive. The Shield's going to be competitive. Obviously, the MLS Cup playoffs, we know how competitive that's going to be. I also think this team can go out and make a Leagues Cup run too. I mean, this team is stacked. It's deep. You have high end talent that I think if maybe they were clicking a little bit sooner, probably would have put up a little bit more fight in Champions Cup. But like, this is a very strong team. So I'm excited to see what Cincinnati looks like. And there's a reason why at this point, again, a few weeks away from being halfway through the season, but at this point, top of the Eastern Conference on 25 points.
If Champions Cup was not super early in the season, I think they have a way better shot. Like
if Champions Cup was like 2-3 weeks later for them, I think Cincinnati maybe move a little bit.
They also started the MLS season with the Red Bulls, Philly, Charlotte, and Atlanta with Toronto in there, but
just two high pressing teams to just absolutely.
They've had some rough. They had a harder schedule to start.
I think so. And then you're balancing two competitions at once. You're playing a Liga MX team that, they lost, they shit the bed with. We talked that through, all good, whatever. But I'm like in Cincinnati at this point. That's why I'm saying maybe a Leagues Cup run. I'm eyeing a potential Leagues Cup run as well. All right, Jason, give me a team that you want to talk about.
I honestly thought I was prepared.
I mean, I can just dive into
I think I want to talk about Minnesota.
Okay.
Because they're coming off a 4-1 win over Miami last week where, honestly, everyone is getting involved. You have Robin Lod, Tani Oluwaseyi, Merkanich has been
Merkanich has been hot right now. He's been good.
Bongi has been hot. Like, I feel like everyone on this team has been really, really good. Obviously, they still have Dane St. Clair in goal,
who early front runner goalkeeper of the year right now. Dane St. Clair has been,
which I think to no one's surprise really, but
no.
Minnesota has been, I feel like, a little up and down this season in terms of like stringing together wins. But they're hanging around towards the top. They're now in second place with 22 points. They're scary. And I think we know they're talented. I think when Eric Ramsey came in last year, it was like, whoa, he can coach. Like, he's got this team. He had a week before the season to prepare, and he had them already off to a great start. They still have Calvin Yeboah, who I don't even feel like has hit like where he will hit at some point this season. So I feel like this team's going to keep rising, and they're doing it from like all their players. And I think that, to me, is the most I guess positive thing, because it's not just on Calvin Yeboah, go score 2 goals today. It's not that. You've had Markanich, who scored, I think, either twice in the last 2 games, or
Yeah, he's stepped in for Joseph Rosales, who Rosales I think is kind of getting a slight punishment. I know this is not as super confident as I should be about this topic. I think he got in trouble with like using language towards someone that he shouldn't be, and words that no one should be using and stuff like that. So I think Rosales is getting a slight punishment, being bumped to like half the minutes or whatever. So Markanich has stepped up very well on the field in replacement for Rosales, but not good if Rosales did do those things and all of that. But yes, Markanich has been good.
Yeah, I mean,
sorry, I didn't know if you were done with that.
But the only thing I would add is just like the fact that they are getting so much productivity from everyone, like anywhere, right? Like the highest goal scorer on this team is Tani Oluwaseyi with 5 goals. That's
he's been hot, which has been nice. Like,
I mean, but that's 3 goals off of the Golden Boot lead. I mean, he's like roughly middle of the pack in terms of like goal scorers. Calvin Yeboah is down on 4 goals. Like, I'm saying it as like a positive. I don't know if it's coming off that way, but like that's massive for them. Like if they don't need those guys to be hitting 15 goals, and they're obviously still could very well hit those numbers, that's huge.
There's a thing that I feel like, I want to see Calvin Yeboah kind of. I know he's been out injured the last 2-3 weeks, and he kind of. I think he played half a game this past weekend. I want to see him kind of pick it up a little bit, and it's not even probably his fault. It's more of like a production issue that I think was lacking for Minnesota for the first few weeks of the season. Robin Ludd wasn't fully around. He was out injured for a few weeks. Now you bring in Julian Gressel, who hasn't played a minute for Miami this year, so now you have to kind of get him fully healthy and up acclimated to playing regular minutes now. And I think all of that is going to help, and I think we've seen it help in the last few weeks. Minnesota, I think, are a super strong team. My opinion of them hasn't changed even through some up and down performances. Of Minnesota has a chance to make it first out of the West and make it to MLS Cup out of the Western Conference. I think, again, it's just you have to get a little bit more creativity from this group outside of what maybe Bongi's going to provide down the one wing, or Tani Oluwaseyi and Kelvin Yeboah matching up. And I think that comes in the form of Robin Ludd healthy, that comes in the form of Julian Gressel acclimating to a new team, and Joaquin Pereira kind of just.
Oh, I mean, it's happening. Like we're seeing it. We're seeing 100%. It happen. So 100%. As long as they can be consistent, or even like if Calvin Yeboah could come back from injury and go on like a 10-goal streak or something crazy, like just score every game. We've seen him put up numbers. So while we're seeing it be somewhat diverse in terms of the attack, it's not like they have to play that way. It's not like they don't have someone who can get a goal in a big moment when needed, which I think is super positive for like when you're in MLS Cup, people are tired. You need someone who's just going to go for it and get it.
I agree. I fully agree with you.
Like a Denny Bouanga. The guy just won't stop scoring.
I mean, look, I know there's now connections with Eric Ramsey and a few jobs over in England and everything like that. I hope he sticks around, and I hope he can at least complete whatever, a year or two. I know it's not technically a full year or two, but year or two of him in charge of Minnesota, and he's bringing a lot of positives to this team, and there is, I think, a lot to be excited about. They're also talking shit on social media to Miami, and David Beckham's not happy about it.
That's someone I wanted to bring up Minnesota for, because like I love that, and I also think it's so much worse that Miami was like, have some class, like oh man, just let it go. You deserved it.
It's not even that. It's just like look, if it was like uncalled for, or if it was like rude or anything,
it was a simple Instagram post.
It's a few social media jokes, which is what social media managers do for sports teams, and you lost 4-1. Like ultimately, like, yeah, you're at the potential, opportunity to get made fun of on social media losing 4-1. Like that's
If
what
you
occurred.
don't want them to talk shit, don't lose.
Yeah, and
And
100%.
don't lose 4-1. Like,
Yes, 100%. Which, look, I like it. Again, I've said this for years on this podcast. I like personalities from players, organizations, coaches.
yeah.
Give me more personalities rather than, I think, the same boring old responses and answers and everything we do see for a large stretch of seasons in Major League Soccer. So I will say that. Also, Minnesota, just to close the wrap up the bow on them, they did win in the U.S. Open Cup against Louisville City, which on a rotated roster, which is a big win against one of the tougher, if not the toughest, USL clubs in the competition. On the road, they're moving on, and I'm going to say Minnesota. I would put them as one of the favorites to win the Open Cup at this point, with the majority of MLS teams moving through. And we'll talk about, at least I want to quickly mention the one team that didn't move through MLS wise in the Open Cup. All right. Is there anyone else that you want to specifically jump on before or anything else with Minnesota, sorry, that you want to specifically mention before
no,
I mention?
I'm good.
I think we got to go Whitecaps. I mean, it's probably rude up until
Yeah,
the point
to
that we
let him
haven't
go this long.
that we've gone two teams, and we haven't.
Hey, we've
mentioned
talked a
Whitecaps.
lot of Whitecaps this year.
We have, but we
Hey,
haven't.
we've been
talked
very
about
high
them
on the Whitecaps this year.
in the historic context of they are making their first ever, or they've made their first ever CONCACAF Champions Cup final. They took down Inter Miami in Miami. 2-0. So it was a 3-1, or what was it? I don't even know what the final score was. It was a 4-1 aggregate ultimately at the end of the day. The Whitecaps dominated. Sebastian Berhalter. Sebastian Berhalter is that dude. Sebastian Berhalter should be on a USMNT roster.
Yellow card accumulation should reset for finals.
Yeah, that's the only thing,
I
right?
hate it so much.
He is going to miss the final. He does have 9. He's already played 20 games this season. He's played
crazy.
1,500 minutes. That's ridiculous. 9 goal contributions in 1,500 minutes. Not that, that's his primary job, but he was the metronome, the heart, the beat, the soul for this team in their Champions Cup run so far. He will miss the final. He's been hot in MLS action on top of it. Like, he's keeping it going with I think every game and every situation he's playing in for the Whitecaps, and ultimately he's going to have to keep it up playing for the Whitecaps in MLS regular season action, because he won't be in that final. But from Berhalter to what Brian White's consistently doing up top, to what Jaden Nelson and Pedro Vite and Ali Ahmed are contributing in the creative aspect of it, to Andres Kubas being a ball-winning dominant D mid, Tate Johnson out of the draft, Tristan Blackman and Ranko Veselinovic dominant as a center back pairing, and I can go on and name the entire roster, because
you didn't name Takaoka, the guy in goal, man.
Edir Ocampo, JC Ngando. I mean, it goes on and on.
I mean, it really is their whole roster. Like, I feel like you could just sit here and name everyone, because everyone is stepping up. And sure, Ryan Gold. They're doing this without Ryan Gold. Like, it's actually incredible, because they're getting so much value out of everyone on the field. Pedro Vite has made a huge step, like what we expected of him, really. But he's here now. He's really, really putting in a lot of effort, and it's showing on for this team. Brian White, consistent as it is, tied for the Golden Boot lead. Like you said, Sebastian Berhalter, 9 goal contributions is crazy. Like, that's so good. We're still so early in the season. Jaden Nelson, like, I don't know if you could say enough good things about him. Like, he just kind of showed up and is just doing his thing. And he'll have moments where it's like, what? Like, he can do that?
He has moments where he does incredible things with the ball at such high speeds that it's like,
yeah, like, how do you defend him? Like, on ball, he's got that thing on a string at times.
I mean, and it's such a nice switch up that Jesper Sorensen can have. Like, the creativity and the speed of a Jaden Nelson, but then like I think the absolute class of a Pedro Vite, but then Ali Ahmed who comes in and he doesn't give up the ball easily, and he's fantastic in his own right, whether he's kind of being pushed a little bit more centrally or out wide. Then Emmanuel Sabi coming
Yeah.
in on top of that, like
I was gonna
they
say both Ahmed and Sabi like deserve major props for just like whenever they're in, it's full effort, it's full expectations for success. It's not a drop off. I mean, they're playing their way into like a starter conversation. If only Pedro Vite and Jaden Nelson weren't there as well.
I mean, but it gives Jesper Sorensen such a nice switch up rotation. It gives him such a nice opportunity to be like,
Yeah.
okay, maybe a team's figured out what Jaden Nelson's doing this week. Okay, we're gonna bring in Ali Ahmed, and he's gonna be a completely different view for what this back line has been seeing for 45 minutes, 50 minutes, 60 minutes. And then it's like on top of that, it's like, oh yeah, you have Sebastian Berhalter just carving you up from the middle of the field, and you have like it, and then the defensive effort and the defensive spine is fantastic. It's absolutely insane what Jesper Sorensen has done with not really that much of a different roster. And to your point, Jason, we've talked about them a bunch, but there's a reason why they've advanced to the CONCACAF Champions Cup final and could be, the second modern MLS club to win this competition.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't, there's not much more to say, I guess, but even in MLS play, they've been fantastic. Now, they will have Canadian Championship action coming in soon enough. I know there's a few more weeks before they have to really, I think, overly worry about that. But last week, they were home against LAFC, completed the 2-2 comeback draw. Brian White with the brace. Brian White is scoring everywhere. And again, I know I mentioned Sebastian Berhalter, Gold Cup USMNT roster. I think Brian White should 1,000% be on that roster as well.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna throw that one.
I mean, it's gonna be annoying if he's not.
Oh, I would be upset. There's
there's a couple players that honestly, like Diego Luna, who I don't know if we're going to talk about RSL today, but I was
probably not. So
I was just thinking about him when you were talking. I'm like, I feel like Diego Luna deserves a shout out, and like this is the perfect time to do it. So he's been really good for RSL. Obviously, RSL has not been as good. But.
Yeah, RSL has been slightly disappointing. I don't know. Maybe not disappointing.
I do have a team that I am kind of disappointed.
Go for it. Keep it moving.
Charlotte needs to figure some things out because it's starting to not look so good. They're coming off 3 losses versus New England, Columbus, and then Nashville. I feel like some of the defending is just not where we've known it to be. I know, this team kind of built who they are on defense, right? I don't feel like that defense is showing up. While it's still like in terms of goals against, not that bad. It's just not that good to look at when there are plays where it just seems like they're kind of lazy. And I don't think like this Nashville game where they lost 2-1 to Nashville. I don't know if that's the best example. I think there's that Hani Mukhtar goal that was kind of incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, both goals in this game for Nashville were pretty nice goals. So I don't want to like bash on Charlotte too much, but it's a team that I think we all had high expectations for, and they started off really well. They're not being met anymore though. So,
but can I say it? I think they deserve a little bit of a bashing because it's been extremely inconsistent, and it's been.
You do think so or don't think so?
I know I do think it's fair.
Okay, so I was like, I feel like I'm being harsh on Charlotte, but at the same time, it shouldn't be like this. Like Wilfred Zaha's Instagram post or whatever, like not great, not a great look.
But that's what. But no offense to people who got upset about him like complaining on Instagram that it's all his fault and it's always his fault and all this stuff. It's like this is what Wilfred Zaha has done at every single club he's ever been to. So this is what you're bringing in. And to be fair, I necessarily don't disagree with him that it's like at least in the Charlotte case that like he gets all the blame. Like
I mean, they're expecting him to put up more stats than he is, but I think
but no one else is also really helping him out.
I also think we go back to our conversation about Charlotte, when it was going well, and it's a lot of how Wilfred Zaha is not putting up huge numbers. I think he's doing a lot to get other people opportunities.
Yeah.
It's like maybe he's gotten a few. I don't know. They don't track hockey assists, do they?
But no. I mean, it's very, very limited now to get. I think the secondary assist in MLS. But it's not just the Zaha issue, and I think the defense has been fine. Christian Kalina hasn't been goalkeeper of the year like he was last year, but he's been good still. Malanda, I don't think he is what he was doing last year, but he's been very good still. But the issue is they haven't had a win in almost a month in MLS action, right? Like that is a concern. It's the last win was 3-0 against San Diego in Charlotte. You go
on the 19th of April.
You go on, you lose to New England at home, you lose to Columbus in Columbus, you draw a USL team in the Open Cup with the fully rotated roster through regulation, and you have to go on and dominate in extra time to move on there. On the road, which that doesn't really matter too much. I still think you should be moving on and not.
I mean, if it's Charlotte, who we've expected to be like a high playoff team, you should be beating a USL team
in regulation.
Yeah, it shouldn't be going to extra time. The fact it was 4-1 final is so misleading for how that game actually went.
I watched that full game. It was not. It was not what you would assume a 4-1 win would look like. And then obviously, yes, this past weekend, Nashville 2-1 loss. They have a midweek game against Orlando. Then they host Chicago on the weekend. Not two easy rollover games in two games.
And then they host Columbus,
where you could, I mean, we want to go Orlando, Chicago, Columbus. I mean, you have DC. DC in the Open Cup. Apologies.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait.
I was gonna say you have DC in the Open Cup, which maybe you keep that going, but then you have the Red Bulls, which the Red Bulls that just put up 7. I mean, again.
Okay, I don't know. We should talk about that game maybe a little bit, but
we will. We will. I just want to, at least for me, wrap up the door on Charlotte. It's fair to criticize them because every single week, every single performance, it's Jekyll, it's Hyde, you don't know what you're getting. And I love Patrick Agyemang. I am fully on his side. He scores a bunch for the U.S. He has not been good in MLS action. He has some goals, and sure, it's showing up on the stat sheet, but I think he is a key contributor as to why, maybe you haven't seen the most out of Zaha because
I don't know if you can even signal out like.
It's not just one player
because it's like a team problem. Like when I watch them, it's not a one player issue. It's like a team issue.
I'm just saying, it's not just the one player. It's not.
Is it weird that like we're how many years into Charlotte's history? 4 years now.
Yeah.
And I feel like every team they've had has lacked like not composure, but like a cohesive unit.
This is the best version of Charlotte FC we have ever seen. That is a fact, in my opinion.
Oh, easily. Yeah, I don't think it's even this is definitely the best Charlotte, but does it not still feel like somewhat disjointed?
It does, but
I think that they deserve time a little bit, but like I'm not thrilled with this Charlotte team based on my expectations going in.
I think Charlotte is a good team, not a excellent team, and I think I expected them to be an excellent team, and that's where my disappointment sets in with them.
Yeah, I expected them within the top 4 to 5 MLS.
And they are not that right now.
And currently they're not.
Yeah.
I mean, point totals is really not bad. They're not out of this whatsoever. So
no.
Like they go on a nice run here. Maybe we'll see it. I think that they're going to have a tough time versus Orlando.
And look, they can go on a run in Open Cup, and I just mentioned Minnesota being one of the teams that I think are favorites for winning the Open Cup. I think Charlotte could and should be in that same category.
I predicted them to win the Open Cup.
Yeah, it's your all of these MLS teams are every MLS team in Open Cup are 4 wins away from a Champions Cup spot for next year. That's 100% what it is. Go win it, like at this point, like go handle your business, go win it, go.
I mean, and DC's totally beatable.
Yeah,
actually, it's expected.
Don't assume you're gonna win, but you're roughly three.
I'm not playing the game. I'm assuming they're gonna win.
All right. You brought up Charlotte. I will stick with the disappointment train, and I'll go LA Galaxy. It's not going to be a
It's
long
this
time.
like disappointment doesn't even do it a justice.
I think you and I have slightly different opinions on the Galaxy, which is fine, but I think ultimately it boils down to the same theme. We talk about the Galaxy every single week. They are now officially on record for the worst start to an MLS team to an MLS season. They do not have wins through 12 games. That is an MLS record. That is official in the books. They have one win on the calendar year that came in Champions Cup action at home against a side from Costa Rica. I think it was Herediano. The Galaxy are the worst team in Major League Soccer. That is ultimately what it is. Yes, it's Ricky Puig out for the year, and now it's, Peck and Paintsel are both out injured again. It's Marco Royce has been out of the lineup, in the lineup, and everyone else has not been good from the back line to key role players who need to step up and everything like that. I don't know if you talk about Greg Vanney on the hot seat. I don't know what conversation needs to happen. I think it's more than just the head coach, to be personally, honest with my opinion. I think it's an organizational structure thing. It's not just Vanney isn't doing enough or these guys aren't doing enough. It's like you won it all last year, but was last year just a 1 year blip on what continues to be a struggling organization? I don't know.
I sort of felt like it wasn't any. I don't know. I kind of evolved my opinion, especially after watching last week, because I mean, in the 7-0 loss is obviously horrible, but it it was more just like the laziness, like the defending was non-existent. I mean, there were multiple balls that just they were second late to. They were behind on. They didn't put in the full effort to run to. That just gifted basically like half the Rebels goals weren't even difficult goals. It was multiple points of 2-on-1, 3-on-2,
Yeah.
3-on-1, 2 on goalie. Like
And then
it was literally three
top it off.
goals. Yeah, and then obviously the own goal, which like literally should never happen. I don't even understand how that type of miscommunication happens. I mean, that was a beautiful goal for an own goal.
Good finish. Good finish.
It made me a little more like I think Greg Vanney should go. And I actually like talking about it, definitely think they should just let him go. And I don't necessarily think he's a bad coach or shouldn't get another job or whatever. Like it's tough because he just won MLS Cup, but like this team and him are obviously not clicking. And I think that performance showed to me like they're not listening, and whether he's saying the right things or not, I don't know if it even matters. Like they're not putting in the effort. I think there was a goal. Emil Forsberg maybe was running down the wing and basically chasing a ball, and they put in a slide tackle. Probably John Nelson. I can't remember who it was, but he kind of just like hit the ball forward and ran around him. Like it wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't like that. To me, was the whole game. It was just them being a step late to everything, and it's only from laziness. Like this team is good. Like we know they're good. Sure, they missed their best player, MVP caliber player. That doesn't mean you can't get a win in this league.
I
A
mean,
win.
I'm more just surprised they haven't they haven't just like fumbled their way into a win. Like Montreal, they were neck and neck with the Galaxy and they beat New York City. So thanks.
That was a bad one too.
Good job, guys.
Bad
But what I'm saying is I don't know how much more, and this is the only reason why I say Greg Vanney not out yet, at least. One, I just have a gut feeling of like, no, not yet.
How long do you stick to this though? Like looking at their
I
next
don't know.
Philly, LAFC, San Diego, San Jose, they might not get a win for 4 weeks. And that's maybe versus RSL in 5 weeks.
I'm just simply
We're talking
saying,
half of a season without a win potentially. I mean, sure they could win tonight at Philly, but like
I can't really sit here and say much more, I guess. I don't know. I don't have a good argument. I don't have a good response to that.
I think like my question is how much damage does this do? Whether even if you do, like, sure, I'm one to usually say keep the coach and let him figure it out and stuff, but like, I think there's been too much damage. Like, this team has no life. There's no life. They just walk out 11 dead players.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's the only thing that I think you can hold against Vanny is it just doesn't seem like there's
You could hold that against the players too. It's like,
100%.
are they
But the head
that
coach,
demoralized? And I get it, like 0 wins in 12 weeks in
yeah,
MLS. Like, yeah, anyone's going to be pretty disappointed. I mean, I'm like, at any level, getting no wins in that long of a time is horrible feeling.
yeah.
But I think like the fact that they're not really showing any signs of improvement, any signs of life, like they're not even competitive. I think that's the biggest issue.
No, I mean, look, you lose a game 2 weeks ago to Sporting Kansas City, who literally have 0 shots in the game, not shots on target, 0
Yeah,
shots.
0 shot. Like first
And
time
then
ever, I'm pretty sure.
first time ever. Might be the first time ever in more than just Major League Soccer, but I did not fact check that.
It's
And
actually
then
ridiculous. How many own goals does the Galaxy have this year?
a fucking lot, and then you lose, on a touchdown to the Red Bulls. Yes, it's in New York and it's cross country, but you shouldn't be losing a game 7-0 period. So I don't know. My thing is I'm not completely Vanny out. I'm 95% there, but there is a little sliver of me that's
I'm
just
Vanny out. And
that's
I
fine.
don't even want it to be like because he's doing that badly of a job. It's more because I think the harm is irreparable. Like
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think they need a new mind, a new voice, which is unfortunate because like a team that literally has a coach in just one MLS Cup shouldn't be in this position. Like I think that's the biggest surprise to me is why isn't anything seemingly getting through to any of the players? Like why am I seeing effort levels this low? You shouldn't. I don't care how bad your team is. 7-0 is unacceptable.
I think that's completely fair. I don't have much more to add. I don't. Again, I'm not sitting here saying I know
I feel
why.
like I'm real passionate about this because it's
You're.
pissing me off.
I brought up the Galaxy, and you're just going off. Go off, King. You know, you're into it. I like it. I mean, I'm not. I don't disagree with you. I ultimately think the end result hasn't been good enough. The team looks lazy. Whether that's the coach, the player, the front office, whoever's fault it is, it doesn't really matter. Things need to change, and an organization is going to make the decision of who's going to get the brunt of that change. Is it Vanny? Is it players? Is it a front office member? Whoever it's going to be. The conversation's only getting louder each and every week, and now there's 2 chances this week for you to lose games.
Oh man.
So
I mean, if
we
like,
will see.
I guess my question, just to finalize this, is
Yeah.
like, if you don't think he's Fanny out, what point? Like, at what point are you? I guess like at that, it doesn't really matter. Like if you fire him at the end of the season, then it's like whatever. You just start next season with a new coach. Like bringing in a new coach to this shit show might be actually more harmful.
Yeah, I don't know, because it's like, is it? Do you just give Vanny the season and say fuck it? Like it doesn't matter
Like let's
anyway.
roll it back next year. I mean, they're already out. Like let's be honest, they have 3 points. They're not making the playoffs.
Yeah. I mean, technically, mathematically, they can, but it's
Okay,
not.
yeah, mathematically, but they got to go on like some crazy run.
Yes, I don't know. I part of me is like, fuck it. Who gives a shit about the season anyway? You won MLS Cup. That's good. You've made it. Now just get Pooj back next year and run that back. I don't know if that works. I don't know if you're just delaying it.
I mean, what do you do? Shut down Paintsel and Peck then, and then just like
No, I think you got to play them, and both of them haven't looked great either. But I don't know.
I mean,
It
no
is
one's looked good on the team. So.
it is a situation where I think it is above my pay grade to determine what the Galaxy should do. They were put in between a rock and a hard place, and I will give them that credit. But the fact that you don't have a win,
How though? Like you lost one player.
I mean,
do you think if Evander left, like got hurt and wasn't on Cincy, they would never win a game again?
It was more than just one player. I mean, Marky Delgado was a big part of it. Joveljic was a big part of it. Jalen Neal was a big part of it. Like it's more than just, I think. And then obviously you lose Puig too, right? So it's like
Yeah.
the roster constraints and all of that. I understand the argument. Everyone plays in the same league, so there's also that argument. It's just it's a shitty situation the Galaxy are in.
Yeah.
There's no positive spin of it. You gotta win a game.
I mean, the positive thing is they won MLS Cup, and I feel like half the teams in the league would be like, "Yeah, I'll take a winless season for MLS Cup any day of the week."
I think that could, but that's what I'm saying. You just run it
Yeah.
back. Fuck it. Who gives a shit? You won 2024 MLS Cup. 2025 is a bust.
I guess I just want to see like
good.
more effort.
I agree.
That Red Bull game left a bad taste in my mouth because to me it just felt like they didn't show up to the game.
Yeah, it's not like you lost 1-0 on an own goal to Sporting Kansas City, And now
I mean, that game also left a bad taste. Like, how do you lose in a game a team has 0 shots?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I fully agree.
They've had the last 2 weeks for them have been abysmal. But let's move on.
Can I go positive?
Yeah, go positive, please.
Philadelphia Union. You mentioned, are we going to talk about them? I think they are. To me, they're Whitecaps-esque. This is a similar team. I think more change for the Union than the Whitecaps.
Quinn Sullivan.
A similar team with a new manager, and this team has been playing at a super high level. They're sitting third in the East, 23 points, 2 points back from Columbus and Cincinnati. And guess what? They just drew Columbus this past weekend, and they're advancing in the U.S. Open Cup. So this is a very good team right now, and Quinn Sullivan, not Cavan, Quinn Sullivan deserves a lot of the love.
Did you see that assist? Oh my God,
bro!
It's so perfect.
You mentioned, right, like that. There's a few other players around MLS that we want to get into the U.S. MNT roster pool for the Gold Cup. Quinn Sullivan is all I gotta say about that. Bring him into the picture.
I'd actually be so interested to see a Gold Cup roster of just MLS players.
Give me it, bro.
It would be so interesting to see how they did because I think they would put in work.
I mean, I think it's going to be a majority of MLS players, right? Nations League is typically the full squad, and then Gold Cup has now fallen to be the secondary roster somehow, but it should be opposite, but I get it with the windows, I guess. I mean, look, Ty Baribo still sitting at the top of the, not the top of the top, but he's still around the top of the goal scoring charts within
I mean,
Major
technically
League
top of the top, right?
Yeah.
I mean, is it by minutes played who's technically, because he's on 8.
No, I think it's assists as the secondary number.
Okay.
I don't know. Whatever.
I mean, there's 4 players on 8. So
Ty Baribo is up there with 8 goals on the season. Quinn Sullivan's been fantastic. This is not just the me thing. Multiple people have noticed this, but the central midfield duo of Jovan Lukic and Danley Jean-Jacques has been unbelievable. Danley Jean, it's incredible how the Philadelphia Union can just find like D mid after D mid after D mid. Like Danley Jean-Jacques the dude has no quit, full energy, full effort, he just doesn't stop moving, and he's physical, and I love it. And Jovan Lukic has been fantastic in his own right as well. And he's definitely a little bit more of that offense, not like that he's a full offensive threat, but getting up the field a little bit more to help support Sullivan and Vasilev. And this team's been fantastic. I don't see, outside of maybe like a little bit more center back depth, I don't see where this team isn't strong, isn't fantastic, isn't going to keep up pace at the top of the Eastern Conference. And again, another team, go win U.S. Open Cup, go win 4 more games. You can do it. Go push for that, So
and Andre Blake hasn't even been playing.
Yeah, and he's been hurt, and Andrew Rick has been pretty good in net. So shout out Andrew Rick too. But
I mean, I love how this team just like you said, they with Jean-Jacques, he's just always going. I feel like that's just kind of like you could say that for most of the guys on this team. Like they turn you over and get up the field really fast. And I think that Quinn Sullivan, Vasilev, Baribo, like they just run. They run at you. And I think it's causing a lot of teams to struggle, I think, against them because of how quickly it's just this turnover. But yeah, I mean, there's literally nothing you can say. Like, I'm still so confused by it because I think both of us had them pretty far low down to start. Yeah, I mean, I had them second to last.
I mean, they had two center backs on the roster leading up into the season. Did I think Nathan Harriel was going to come in and be playing center back next to Jakob Glesnes and next to Frankie Westfield, which another fantastic fucking home.
I thought this year was going to be like a rebuild.
Like they've blown all expectations out, and I mean, again, I think you have to give credit to Bradley Carnell for what he's doing with a very similar roster to a team last year that missed the playoffs. Yes, they added a DP in Damiani, and they added another center back, even though he hasn't really played, and they added Jovan Lukic and Vasilev. So 4 major changes, but you also are down Daniel Gazdag, Jack McGlynn, Leon Flack. Like you're down major talents on top of it as well. So Bradley
Carnell, very much.
100%. Bradley Carnell, I think, is in the Jesper Sorensen conversation for Coach of the Year so far, and the Wilfred Nancy, and probably Pat Noonan conversations for Coach of the Year so far.
I mean, I think Sorensen and Carnell should be somewhat higher just from expectations alone, but
yeah. I'm not against it. I'm not against it. We're at the point of the episode at the season. We're at the point of the episode where I feel like we should rapid fire some teams. If there's any teams you have left that you want to.
I do have one more. Yeah. I could probably do more, but
give me the last one that you really want to talk about.
That's Seattle because they've totally turned a corner recently. I mean, obviously, some big names injured with Arriola and Morris, but Pedro de la Vega coming back has looked really, really good since his injury. Danny Musovski has been balling, like absolutely balling.
Moose, come on, bro.
I mean, every game there's some, and they're just, I mean.
Can I just say a quick Danny Musovski stat? He has now scored in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight games for the Sounders.
And you know what their record is in those 5 games? 4 wins, 1 draw.
Yeah.
Let's go, Seattle. This is the Seattle I expected.
I need Danny Musovski starting next to Jesus Ferreira. Push Jordan Morris back out to the wing when he's healthy, and let's just run this back. Like just give me the Sounders absolutely dominating with Danny Musovski.
They're scoring at a rate that we need them to score at. Like, this is the team that we kept saying just score goals. They have 7 goals in their last 2 games.
Imagine if Danny Musovski was playing against, the CONCACAF Champions Cup competition. Oh wait, it's not like he didn't fucking score against Cruz Azul because he did. God damn, there's pieces, and I've been on this train for a few.
Okay, it took Schmetzer a minute to get it all figured out. He figured it out, man. It's okay.
I've been ridiculed on this podcast about this take. There's something about Brian Schmetzer that just gets under my skin. And I like him. I like him personality-wise. I like him. It's more coaching-wise. It's like Schmetzer takes 15 weeks to figure out the winning formula, and it
is funny because if you think of Seattle, you think of slow starts. Honestly,
it's
solid. When they hit the playoffs, you're like, this team could beat anyone. But usually, it's why are they not the Supporter Shield winner?
It's literally the same roster. Who did you bring in new? You brought in Ryan Kent and Jesus Ferreira. Okay, they replaced
Arriola, but yeah.
Sure, but they replaced Raul Rui Diaz and Josh Atencio. It's not the roster changes completely, Brian. Find the success.
You have Christian Roldan, Obed Vargas,
Jordan Morris.
Literally Bruce their back line, I don't think has changed in 5 years.
Bro, if I see Alex Roldan, Yaimar Nuhu, and fucking Jackson Reagan one more time, I'm gonna snap. I mean, it's good. It's the best maybe back line.
It's so good, but it's just funny when you say they haven't changed. You literally could. Paul Rothrock also has been balling out a little bit, but
yeah,
I mean this team's just hitting its stride really well, so it just makes me smile because it's a fun fun games to watch.
They
Seattle
just
games.
give me the slight FC Cincinnati annoyance of like, if you just figured it out 2 weeks, 3 weeks sooner, Champions Cup maybe wouldn't have been a complete fucking disaster as what it
The
was.
most depressing tournament
Like
for a while. I mean, thank
we
God for
know
Vancouver.
we know you're a good team. Like, just figure it out that much quicker. Come on now. But no, I'm joking. Seattle have been very
I mean,
good.
you're right. Like,
I'm
yeah,
not
it's a
like
joke, but
joking.
you're also right. Like, this team is so much better than when they were 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, and I mean, look, they're 6 points off Vancouver. Not that that's insurmountable over the course of the season,
They
but
had one win in 7 games, and they're only 6 points off the lead in the conference. I'd
yeah,
say that's you're like looking at that. Oh wow, we're lucky.
yeah. I mean, look, they're scoring at a good
And
rate.
Vancouver's barely put a misstep.
I mean, Vancouver have one loss in MLS action. You know, like they're and against who, Jason? Chicago Fire. So I'll give you that credit. They have one loss, what, the entire year, or 2 losses the entire year, or something like that. But it's incredible.
It is
All
funny
right.
that the Fire were the team to beat them, but
The one MLS team to give them an L.
at
That's
home too.
yeah, yeah.
The Fire actually picked up their first win at home this past week.
Really?
We should talk about Atlanta.
I mean, I can just quickly say I said it. I said it in the preseason prediction episode. How many years are we going to go in all on Atlanta? They spent all this money, all this talent, potential. I'm sold. They're winning it all. They're fantastic.
For the listeners, you picked them to finish 4th in the conference.
Because I fell for it again because
I got baited even harder.
Because I'm the asshole. That's why. Because I put them 4th because I'm the asshole once again. I fell for it. And here we are. Atlanta United can't defend at all. And there's something just disconnected between.
I feel like I don't feel that bad for falling for it. They were good last year. They were like a game out of the MLS Cup. 2 games out.
Were they good, or did they just fall on some absolute
Did they get
heater?
hot at the right time? I mean, that's just, I don't know. Like, that could be both.
To me, I don't know. I don't know
They
if
should be better with Latte Loft in Almiron. Just those 2 names alone coming in
and
should have made this team better.
And Saba, and none of them are making a difference. That's what I mean. I blame Latte Loft maybe the least.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's honestly put in some decent performances, but
he's not getting anything. He's not getting any help. He's Pedro Amador has been in and out of the lineup injured. Brooks Lennon only really got back in the last handful of weeks from his injury from last season. So it's like, okay, maybe you're trying to hope to get some, creativity.
When Latte Loft gets the service, he scores. Like, I feel
lethal.
pretty confident in my golden boot pick, but not anymore because they just don't.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, he doesn't get any service, but when he does, like,
yeah,
if he had consistent service, he'd be up there.
I'm gonna say, similar to the Charlotte conversation, all of the blame does not fall on one player, right? It is a team group thing. But Alexei Miranchuk is not a DP quality player. He's not a DP level player. Yes, he came over from Atalanta. They won the Europa League, big profile, Russian national team player, all this stuff. He has not lived up to that. And because if he's impacting the game the same way that you see bits from Latte Loth and you see bits from Miguel Almiron as well, this team would be doing better, scoring more goals, but he doesn't.
I still think, like, the problem isn't the attack for this team; it's the defense. Like, they're just abysmal at like this past weekend versus the Fire. I think finished 2-1. Yeah, it could have been 4. Probably could have been a lot more. Like, and the Fire aren't the most perfect team. Like, I don't need to sit here and talk about them. But it could have been worse. Like, there were some missed opportunities, and I think Atlanta's just sometimes gets caught standing around.
I mean, I don't think I can sit here and say I think this is a defensive issue. This isn't a defensive issue because they're allowing goals at a crazy rate. I can't also sit here and say it's not an offensive issue because they aren't scoring. They aren't.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's everything. Like they're not scoring and they're not defending. So
Yeah, I mean, look, Mateus Click hasn't been great. The central midfield hasn't been great. Yes, the center backs I think have been atrocious. Brad Guzan has not been good in net. He's had some moments of the playoff run last year, but it's been pretty bad for the 40-year-old goalkeeper. I don't know. Ronnie Dyla, I think, is probably just getting a little bit of a leash because he's a new manager into the league and into the team, but this team is looking ugly. And I came into this episode in my brain saying, I think there's more good teams in MLS than there are bad teams by a pretty good margin. I still want to say that's true, but I think Atlanta United falls into the bad team category at this point. I think there's 4 bad teams in the East, and I think there's 4 bad teams in the West too. I'm gonna go 4 and 4.
The bottom 4 in the East, I would agree. Those are the bad teams.
Yeah.
West.
It's not the bottom 4, but
I was gonna say I don't think Houston's like one of the bad teams.
No.
Who do you think? So Galaxy, obviously. Kansas City.
Yeah.
St. Louis.
Yeah.
RSL.
Yeah. Those are my 4 bad teams in the West.
Yeah, and then it's Montreal, Atlanta, Toronto, DC.
Well, we're
on the same page.
I mean, you just called them all out. I wasn't saying names.
I will say it again. What are they going to say? No, we're good. Prove it.
That's fair. All right. Quickly, the only other team that I just wanted to say, and we don't even need to go on like that long of a rant about it. You may not even have anything to rant about. But, I mean, for me, it's New York City, and I will just say...
That was a bad loss.
Which one? We're gonna talk the U.S. Open Cup loss being the only MLS team to not advance in the competition to the next round, getting
I totally forgot about that one.
by the Riverhounds 1-0, and then go into the weekend and you lose 1-0 to one of the 2 teams in MLS that don't have a win, and you lose to Montreal 1-0 at home in New York. And then Keaton Parks is out injured for I think a pretty decent chunk. Who he's been the best player on this team over the last 3 years. This team does not create jack shit. And it's just, okay, can Alonso Martinez finish off a ball? We play DC midweek today, if you're listening, and then you go into a game against the Red Bulls. If we don't beat DC, I'm out. I'm sold. I think this team. If you don't beat
DC, you might be the 5th bad team.
I might be adding to another bad team.
You might be on another list.
Facts. Well, Pascal Jensen, he's trying to switch things around, figure it out, plug and place guys, see who's doing successful where, but it just hasn't been working out. So I don't know. I'm not sold on New York City. I can definitely see them being the 5th bad team. I'll agree with you there. But any other little mini rant you want to go on before we close things out?
Mini praise. New England, got to shout them out because I'm the only one who stayed on their train. Even though it got real dicey. I mean, they have 5 wins in their last 7 games in a draw. So, it pays off to stick around, but they look really good. Carles Hill looks really good. So,
is it bad that I think I've now learned my own keys of, I feel like I'm saying this about every single team that's still left in the U.S. Open Cup, but New England could do it. They could be part of it, where I'm like,
I'm excited for the MLS matchups in Open Cup because those are going to be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, New England faced the Chicago Fire soon enough next weekend.
New England?
Yeah. Chicago Fire could be one of those teams that I could see winning U.S. Open Cup.
I hope they take it very seriously.
Yeah, hey, you're 5 wins or 4 wins from a Champions Cup spot, so go win it, New England.
I mean, that would be insane, actually. Now don't do this. Now I got excited.
Jason's excited. All right, we will be back talking midweek games and weekend games and actual games next week. But I feel like we needed a good episode to just chat about what's going on, catch up, get our feelings about everything so far this season out there, and then we'll talk more game specific stuff next week. Jason, super quick, is there a weekend game? It can be Saturday or Sunday, or if
We
you
don't
have
have it up, do we?
day. No, I don't have it up for you.
Why does it take so long? My computer is like 15 years old. It's literally the worst.
I mean, I will just say,
where are the games?
El Tráfico and Hudson River Derby.
Oh, it is. It's rivalry week. Yep.
Yeah, we got Hell is Real is fun too.
Hell is Real is amazing, man.
Yeah, two of the top teams in the league.
I mean, Sunday's just got bangers. Orlando versus Miami and LA versus LAFC. Obviously, those are great ones.
Well, maybe it's not a banger. Maybe LAFC goes and scores 10, but I mean...
Oh, that's a good point. Oh my God! Wait, that game's gonna be so much fun to watch.
You got the Rocky Mountain Cup. You got Cascadia.
Cascadia will be actually. I think that's gonna be my game of the week. Seattle, Portland. Like,
okay,
both very good form. Portland's just scoring. We didn't even talk about them this episode, which I feel like is wrong because they deserved it. But
we couldn't talk about everyone. Sorry, Portland.
But you know what? Your game of the week, Portland.
There you go. There's Jason giving. There's Timber Jason giving some love. He's making.
It's been a while since Timber.
He's making a comeback.
Came out
making
a
comeback. All right, guys. Thank you.
You know what? Wait, should I do garbage game of the week?
Sure. Give me the garbage game.
Because I just saw that Montreal plays Toronto.
Hey, a rematch of the Canadian Championship where Toronto, Montreal eliminated Toronto in PKs. That's exciting. We all love that.
I've never felt more confident in picking Vancouver for like the third year in a row to win the Canadian Cup.
Oh, did I already have my team get eliminated?
Actually, Montreal. I don't remember who you picked.
I am Montreal. Let's go, boys. Let's go.
Crazy.
All right. Well, there it is. I'm excited. Enjoy the midweek and weekend games of soccer. We'll catch you guys next week. Jason, thank you. Listeners, viewers, thank you. Peace out.